Hello, happy full moon, that incoming full moon at 29 degrees of Capricorn, the anaretic degree. So I'm recording this in the UK, in Brigade's Isles, and the full moon for us is going to be on Sunday. And it's going to be a super powerful full moon. Now, we always say that about full moons, don't we? Oh, it's another powerful full moon, but this is the second full moon in Capricorn, known as a blue moon. This is when you have two full moons within the calendar month. So the themes that came up for you at the last full moon, if you didn't resolve them, might be coming up for healing, releasing, and alchemizing as well. For me, I've just written a couple of notes for this. It's a really noticeable shift as well, because after that full moon, Sol and Luna both tip into the sign of Leo, and we can all breathe a sigh of release. So I am an Aries, Sag rising, Sag moon. Cancer to me is not a very comfortable season. It doesn't sit particularly well with me, even though I have no planets in that. It's always a bit of a weird energy, and that's my stuff to work through. But if you found Cancer season quite difficult, we tip into Leo, and suddenly the spark, the fire, the ignition is brought back into our lives as we use that inner fire of Leo to blaze our way forward through the end of summer into those beautiful late summer days that we get in September in the UK. This full moon is going to bring up quite a lot of stuff. It's really going to ask you, how are you showing up in the world? How are others perceiving you? Are you being recognized? Can you shed the fear of judgment around what other people think about you? So I did a video on Tuesday around that, about being too much a woman. Where are you feeling so much judgment around the way that you act, the way that you speak, the way that you dress? So this full moon for me is really shedding skin, really getting rid of all our fears of judgment. And it's no coincidence that in this garden there's been 3 grass snakes. So in the UK it's quite rare where I live to get snakes, and that for me is that sign that only personally I'm shedding skin, but collectively there is a real need to move forward. We have outgrown the person that we were, who we were when we started this year. She or he is evolving and shifting and changing so rapidly. So my question to you is, can you shed the fears of judgment? Can you welcome in through this full moon the next level of you? Can you check in with your January goals when we had that new moon in Capricorn? What shifted? What's changed? Is there any goals or fears or desires that you really need to let go of? Has something worked really well? Has it not worked really well? Does it need tweaking, or does it completely need letting go of and starting again? So not only have we got this beautiful full moon at the anaretic degree of Capricorn, we've also got an out of sign conjunction to Plutonia, the dark goddess of transformation. So to me, Pluto is incredibly powerful. When I'm reading birth charts, I love to see where Pluto falls in someone's chart, so it gives me an idea of the generation that they're born into, but also what shadow they can alchemize, and whether they're ready to really harness that plutonic desire for constantly shedding skin, for deep transformation. So when we have an outer sign conjunction, so the moon is at 29 degrees of Capricorn, and Pluto, when I last checked, was at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So 2 different signs, but very close together. And that's going to bring up a lot of discomfort, a lot of shadow work, a lot of past emotions. And you may have even found that this week, as they're getting ever closer together, that's been really highlighted for you. And we also had the Mars, Urania and Algol conjunction earlier in the week, and I had a beautiful friend describe it as Mars and Urania kissing. Now, it may have been like that for some people, but for others, and hopefully if you're not in the UK, I'm wanting to explain this to you, for some of us it felt like a Glasgow kiss. Okay, it really felt like boom, that was it. You know, everything has shifted, everything has really changed. So you might be walking and wondering about what actually happened this week, and then we're going into the weekend with even more intense energies. And the best way of facing this, particularly whenever Pluto is involved, is to become the sorcerer or the sorceress of your own reality, to become the alchemist, to face your fears head on, to look them in the eye, to understand where they have come from, to look at them and say, actually, you're no longer part of my life. And then you drop into your heart and ask, what is the best action that I can take to alchemize this, so I can integrate all this shadow work into my life and I can move forward without fear. And don't forget, from our greatest wounds we get our greatest gold. So whatever is popping up for you this weekend, really look at it in the eye and ask your heart, how can I alchemize this to step into the next level of who I am becoming? Be with the emotion, let it flow, let it bubble up, journal it out, scream it out, cry it out, punch a pillow, go for a run, whatever you need to do to move that energy and emotion through your body, because emotion is energy in motion. It needs to move, it can't stagnate, and we can't be awfully British about it and just have a stiff upper lip and not cry about it. Really let rip, let it go. Speak to a friend if you need to, get your journal out and let your heart pour onto the page. So I have a couple of other things to have an eye on. Saturn is still in Pisces at this full moon, so lots of closing out, lots of endings. That's really adding to this full moon. But I've also got one eye on the Pluto retrograde between September and November this year. Feels like it's going to bring in quite a lot of tumultuous energy, lots of closures, lots of change. I am starting to tap into Pluto as a goddess entity. I'm going to bring through some channeling from her, but it really feels like we have a deep choice about how we are going to act. There could possibly be some shenanigans on the world stage, but it's the last foray into Capricorn, so watch those top-down structures of control, seeking to tighten the thumb screws, and how are you going to react to it. So that is the full moon in Capricorn this Sunday. It's going to be super exciting. Think of it as a lunar reset. Allow the next level of you to come into the world and to be birthed. I'd love to hear your comments. If you do want a birth chart reading with me, please drop me a DM and we can sort that out. Sending you so much full moon love. Take care.